This is probably by far one of the most common or most asked questions. So once I'm done filling up, let's jump in the truck where it's less windy, less noisy, and I actually got to get some miles done anyways. Let's jump in the truck and let's answer the question, the age-old question, who should I lease under? All right, actually guys, I want to answer two questions in this video. I want to answer, first of all, how you find a company to lease under, and second of all, who you should lease under. Or maybe, I guess you could reverse those, maybe how to find a company to lease under, and who you, wait, did I just say who you should lease under and how to find them? I don't know, something along those lines, but those are the two questions that I want to answer, okay? Now, obviously, the first one, how to find a company to lease under, is super, super easy, guys. Selfish plug, again, I'm sorry, but a selfish plug, guys, really, guys, the website is really doing well. It really is. I'm surprised at how receptive people are and how thrilled people are that it's really that easy to find a company to lease under. I really am impressed with it. So again, it's towpiglet.com/connections, and that gives you the options to work or hire. And obviously, because you want to lease on, you're an owner operator, you are looking for work. So you click work, you create an account, and then you just make your account, then you activate it, you type in what kind of equipment you have, all this other stuff. This is free for owner operators to do, right? And then what happens is owner operators start reaching out to you. Or not, goodness gracious, Alex, learn how to talk. Companies that are leasing on owner operators start reaching out to you, right? And actually what the developer and I, the new feature that we just literally added, like not very recently actually, so it's super, super fresh, is companies now can post jobs. And so what happens is after you've activated your account, you'll see any jobs that your equipment falls under. So you want to be accurate with your equipment so that the jobs that you get aren't like are actually what you're looking for. And so you'll be able to see what jobs are available or from what companies, which is awesome, because now it's like you can just click, you can mark interested at your jobs, and your information gets sent directly to that company, and they'll hopefully be able to review it quicker, which that means you'll be able to get to work hopefully faster. So that's the how you find a company to lease under. Now guys, obviously my website isn't the only thing. I want to be completely transparent, right? So it's like, obviously that's one of those things that I started, that's a business that I started because tons of people were asking me all the time, and so I really wanted to make like a centralized location for owner operators and companies to get together, right? But there are tons of other resources. First of all, I just opened, like when I literally just started driving. And by the way, I'm using my voice activated GoPro. I do not have to touch it to interact with it. So I do use my voice to actually start and stop recording and whatnot. Hopefully no, okay, it's good, yeah. So sometimes if I say it, it actually turns it off. So, but guys, so keep in mind, I'm using my my voice activated GoPro. But when I was at the truck stop, I was actually reviewing other places where you get a job. And I'll be honest, a couple of Facebook groups are really, really awesome resources too. There's a bunch of hotshot trucking groups that have companies constantly hiring as well. That's awesome. But the other thing is I actually looked at Indeed, and Indeed actually has tons of companies posting on there as well. So between those three things, hopefully you can get a job, or you can find a company to lease under really quickly, okay? So that's the where do I find a company to lease under. Now, the second thing is who you should lease under. And here's what I can tell you about who you should lease under, okay? I'm not gonna recommend a single company or anything like that, but I can recommend basically some of the things that you need to look for, okay? First and foremost, I would not lease under a newer company. Now, I realize there's tons of new companies out there, but guys, running a company, running a trucking business is hard. It really is hard, right? I leased on a couple owner operators. I have my driver, and it's been a massive headache for the paperwork. It really has been. It has been super problematic keeping track of the expenses for the owner operators, because then I got to deduct them, right? Because I give them a fuel card, and so it's like, it really is problematic. And I'll make some videos in depth about those types of steps, so maybe you could learn. But still, it is really challenging. So that's why I say, don't, like, when a company reaches out to you, just say, hey, how old is your MC number? When did your MC number go active? So try to avoid a newer company, especially if you're just starting out. The second thing, guys, is really try to search the Facebook groups. Try to search, see if there's bad reviews or if a certain percentage is high. Now, here's what I can tell you. Sometimes companies get a bad reputation, unfortunately, and you know, but if you're new, it's like, it's better than nothing. You know, like, that's the thing. It's like, you're new. It's like, you have no experience in the business. You really don't know what's good or bad. But really, just look for a company that explains what their rules and fees are. If a company kind of makes up fees on the fly, you want to avoid that. So really, just pay attention to what you're being charged, right? So, and honestly, a fair percentage right now probably is in between 15 and 30%, depending on what's covered. So if somebody charges you 30%, insurance should be included, factoring should be included, fuel cards should be included. All that stuff is included for that 30% price, right? Just like with Landstar, that's like the Landstars of the world, right? If they're charging 10%, then they might say, hey, we only charge 10 to lease on, but it's an extra 5% for dispatch, or it's 5, so it's 15% total if you want us to dispatch you and lease on, right? Something like that. But then you don't pay for factoring, so it's another 3% for factoring. So they'll charge you 18%, but they'll find you loads and they'll factor your loads, but you don't get a fuel card, right? So really, that's kind of how the breakdown works. And so depending on how much you need the company to do, that'll determine how much they're going to charge you. Okay, so that's who you should lease under. Basically, the second thing is just pay attention to what you're being charged. And really, the last thing, guys, is I just want to give you I want to tell you, the most expensive thing isn't a company charging you 25%. The most expensive thing is downtime, okay? And so by company hopping, that's how you go broke, switching companies, right? Because $1.30 at any company is better than sitting at home with no company, okay? So keep that in mind. The more often you switch throughout the year, the less money you're gonna make. So even though maybe you don't really like your company, it still might be better than being without a single company to lease, or without leasing on under anyone, right? And don't get me wrong, if a company hasn't paid you in a month, don't stop working. Tell them to pay you before you hit the road again, because that's not right. So companies should be paying their owner operators. So make sure you're not totally getting scammed. But still, if a company is paying you and you just started with them and it's been a couple weeks maybe, and you're like, Alex, all the loads aren't there or something like that. First of all, you got to be super patient with companies, because right now is a weird season. Like last week, I had a super duper week, and then this week I'm on the same load boards in the same general area. Total trash. And really, it's super strange in 2020 how they just in a week your rates can fluctuate drastically. It's super weird. But still, keep that in mind. You're gonna have to give a company that you lease under at least 2 months. Give them at least 2 months before you quit them, because 2 to 3 months, generally speaking, is when you can kind of get a feel for the things, like how they're going. Are they responsible? Are they good? Are they on their toes? Do they find you partials? But if you find yourself you're getting loaded for $1 a mile and you have 15, 20 feet left over and you can't ever fill the deck, or you're sitting on the weekends all the time, bring that up. Voice your opinion. Hey guys, what's going on here? Is it me? Am I running the logs wrong? Am I doing something incorrectly? Am I late to my deliveries? What can we do so that I don't sit the weekends? Bring that up to the company at first. If the company says, hey, that's just how we run our guys, then maybe start looking to switch. But you should be giving a company that you lease under, especially when you're new, at least 3-4 months, I would recommend, before you start thinking about switching. I really recommend. And if you're starting in November or December, really when the freight is slow, you should really try to be super patient during those times. Really try to be patient, because at the end of the day, the loads are not all there, they're just not there. So basically, if you are looking for a company to lease under, or if you're asking yourself, hey Alex, or if you want to send me a message and say, Alex, who should I lease under? Those are just some of those things that I'd recommend you look out for. I don't really have a company that I know for sure will take everyone and it's going to be a super well done, nice job. That just doesn't exist. So basically, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any more suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Maybe you were new and now you've been in the business for 2 years. I want to hear what your thoughts are. Now, ultimately, before we end it really quick, the goal is eventually to get your own MC number. That is the goal. But keep in mind, guys, I was leased on for 3 years for 3 different companies before I got my own MC number. So it's totally fine to take your time. It's okay. There's a lot to learn in this business, right? It takes a while before you get good at becoming an owner-operator, and becoming an owner-operator is totally different than running the whole business. So keep that in mind. Now, the goal is to get your own MC, but just keep it in mind, it's not that easy, okay? So anyways, guys, don't forget the everything you need to Hotshot checklist is always in the description down below. It's a free checklist that you can really just go list like in order on what you need to get started. But anyways, that'll do it for this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.